Okay, excellent. We are live. So good afternoon, everyone, present and online. My name is Julian Morse. I'm the MLA for Frame Lake and chair of this committee. I'm just going to start with a round of introductions of committee members. I'll start with members in the room, starting with Ms. Whalen Armstrong.
Jane Whalen Armstrong, MLA for Morphe, Glacier Region.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Robert Hawkins, MLA for Yellowknife Center, and as always, I'm always happy to be here, along with our millions of subscribers from around the world.
Okay, thank you. And online we have Mr. Jericon first.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Richard Jericon, MLA for Trinity Valley.
Okay, thank you. And we have Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kate Reed, MLA for Great Slave.
Thank you very much. And calling in all the way from Newfoundland, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Danny Rogers. I'm the MLA for Nuvik Boot Lake. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And we also have, it looks like Mr. Testard online.
Good afternoon, Kieran Testard, MLA for Range Lake.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Glad to have such a good attendance for our public hearing today. So today, the committee continues its review of Bill 26, an act to amend the Public Service Act. This meeting is being held for members of the public to share their views. We appreciate the opportunity to hear from the public today in an open forum. There are extra copies of Bill 26 available on the table by the door. You're welcome to take those. And staff have prepared a sign-up sheet for anyone who would like to speak today. So if you are planning to speak and haven't signed up, please chat with Angus there. Before we begin, I just want to lay out kind of the ground rules and expectations for the meeting. I want to remind everybody that this meeting is being live streamed on the Assembly's social media channels. Any comments the committee hears today will be considered public information. They will be included in the evidence that committee receives as part of its study of Bill 26. The committee may cite or quote you in a report in the Legislative Assembly or enter your remarks into the public record. The goal of today's meeting is to hear from you on the specific intent of the bill, which is to provide a mechanism for nurses to form their own bargaining unit. The committee is looking to know whether you support this goal, and if so, whether you feel this bill is the best way to achieve it. My role as chair today in the meeting is to keep things running smoothly and on track. If needed, I may intervene to maintain order and ensure that everyone gets a chance to speak. I did want to note that the meeting is for folks to come up and share their views with committee. It's not an opportunity for people to debate back and forth amongst themselves as presenters. So share your thoughts with committee. It's just not going to work to have a back and forth debate. That's not how public hearings are conducted. But certainly we do want to hear your views and express to committee. If any committee members have clarifying questions for presenters after their statement, I will confirm with the presenter first that they are comfortable answering questions, and then we can continue. And I just want to note this for committee, that this will be a bit different than presentations that we usually receive, and that I'm asking the committee members simply ask clarifying questions. If it's not clear what the presenter is saying, we're not going to be interrogating presenters the way we might someone who comes and presents before committee in our usual meetings. I'm going to ask that presenters limit their statements to no more than 5 minutes to allow time for everyone to be heard. There are a number of presenters today, and so we do want to make sure that everybody gets their chance to speak. For anyone not familiar with presenting to committee, please direct all comments through me as chair, and please wait for the technicians in the audio room to turn on your microphone before speaking. This will ensure that your audio is recorded and broadcast. And last but not least, I would like to remind everyone that committee is also accepting written comments. Anyone who wants to send in a letter or follow-up information after today's meeting can send them by email to committees@ntassembly.ca. With that, I would like to now open the floor to those who would like to provide feedback on the bill. I'll call on you in order from the sign-up sheet, and if we've missed anyone at the end, I'll make sure to give you an opportunity as well. So do let us know. And first on the list, we have Ms. Catherine Breen. Oh, if you can just sit at the witness table, yeah. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so Ms. Breen, if you can just state your name for the record and then share your comments with committee.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Dr. Catherine Breen, and I'm an emergency physician. I work at Stanton Territorial Hospital. I'm also the past president of the Northwest Territories Medical Association, which is the professional body that represents doctors across the Northwest Territories. And I'm here today to present on behalf of the Northwest Territories Medical Association, but also on my own behalf and personally as a physician who works every day, quite literally shoulder to shoulder with nurses in the Northwest Territories. I've always taken it as a compliment when patients mistake me for one of the nurses, because nurses are the heart of healthcare in the North. I work with nurses in the emergency department. We have an incredible team at Stanton. They're some of the most skilled nurses I've worked with in my career. And not everyone is aware that the emergency physician stationed at Stanton every day has the opportunity to speak to nurses working at the health centers throughout the territory. And on every shift, I interact with nurses who are providing life-saving care to patients, and I am continuously in awe at their skill and at their compassion. And I'd be remiss not to remember nurses who are working in primary care, in public health, in long-term care, and in the other hospitals, in Inuvik, in Hay River, and Fort Smith. I think if anywhere ought to be a center of excellence for northern nursing, it is the Northwest Territories. However, like physicians, nurses face a system that too often overlooks or it misunderstands the realities of working and living here. Nurses deserve the ability to negotiate better contracts and working conditions that reflect the realities and that seek to retain them here. The proposed amendments to the Public Service Act, granting nurses independent bargaining power and a clear path to sustainable agreements, are a practical and a necessary step towards achieving this level of excellence. When nurses can secure fair employment and long-term stability, patients benefit. The NWTMA supports this bill. I am proud to also offer my support. We all share the same goal. We want the best care possible for the people of the Northwest Territories, and this bill offers a practical way forward. Empowering nurses to stay here and to thrive here is key to our success. I truly appreciate the opportunity to address the committee, and thank you very much for your attention. Masicho.
Thank you very much for that succinct presentation. Are you comfortable taking questions from committee if there are any?
I am.
Are there any clarifying questions from committee members? Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you. Thank you for your words. I appreciate them very much. First off, maybe before I get into a specific question, but are you able to share your speaking comments with the committee clerk?
I will.
Thank you very much. I'll assume the chair is going to acknowledge that, but that's it. When you talked about working conditions reflective of the realities, could you be more specific? That was, I was trying to understand specifically what that you were targeting or focusing in on, but didn't particularly say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Breen?
I appreciate that the intention of this bill is to provide nurses with an independent voice to bargain on their own behalf and speak to the particulars of their working conditions. Working conditions including shift work, the realities of dealing with life or death emergencies, dealing with patients at every stage of the life cycle, often working in remote centers. I know that I'm more familiar with the realities for physicians, and I appreciate that physicians do have the ability to bargain independently. And I would hope that my colleagues, nurses, would benefit from the same advantages.
Thank you. Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you very much. So, just to be a little tougher now, if you don't mind, not mean, but tougher. When you talk about reflective of the realities of living here, aren't those the same conditions in northern BC, northern Ontario, northern Manitoba, et cetera, et cetera? So I'm trying to understand when you point out the working conditions and realities, reflect the realities of living here, specifically what you would mean, or were you just sort of thinking, and here's your out, which is sort of just a broader overlook or over a sense of the overall duties and responsibilities? Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Breen.
I'm not sure if I fully understand what you're getting at, but I would say just the realities that are faced by nurses in the Northwest Territories are in fact unique.
Thank you. Ms. Reed, I have you next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Thanks. Sorry, I'm speaking a little quietly today because I'm not well and I didn't want to get anybody in the medical profession sick today. My question will probably be the same for all presenters. So thank you for your indulgence for probably hearing it several times. But could you explain to me why you feel Bill 26 is preferable to the work that the GNWT has committed to do to look into creation of a labor board? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Breen.
The NWTMA supports this bill because it's the bill that's before us and we feel has the best advantage to give nurses independent bargaining power.
Thank you. Ms. Reed.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thanks. Committee, any further clarifying questions? Just noting we're trying to just get clarity from the presenter on what they've said, as opposed to just asking general questions. But just we can't go into a full round of questions with every single presenter. We're going to run out of time. So, are there is anyone unclear as to anything that was shared by Ms. Breen? Or
It's more of a comment, can I?
sure, brief though. We got to get through the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to say I do value living in small communities, what it's like for the nurses. I do value the work that they are doing, and I know that they are hard worker, and they do all the work of the physician too as well. They're alone. Some of the small community have only one nurses, so they have a lot of work to do. We know that, we know that they are doing more than their share. So I just wanted to say thank you, and it's more of a comment, but then I think I have my reservation for other as well. So, but I do value the work that they are doing, the nurses. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I do support it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, with that, thank you very much, Ms. Breen, for presenting to committee. Next on the list, I have Mr. Jacques Roberge. And when you're ready, Mr. Roberge, if you could just introduce yourself for the record, and then similar to all presentees, we'll give you 5 minutes. So if you can keep your presentation brief and to the point, that'll be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jacques Roberge. I am a member of the public, so not speaking as a nurse. I am a member of the GNWT unionized workforce, so I'm part of the general GNWT workforce, and I work as a legislative advisor, and I speak on my own behalf. I don't speak for GNWT. My membership in the union is not currently in good standing. I'm working hard to get it back in good standing, and so I don't speak for the union either. I really want to emphasize I'm speaking for, as a member, on my own behalf. As an introduction, I'll just speak to first thanking all the presenters and the questions of MLAs throughout that have, and I have attended these meetings one after the other, and have found great interest I found it fascinating to follow this bill. I'll speak a bit to my history. I have a little bit of experience in the labor area. I founded a union back in 2007, and it's the teaching assistants and lab assistants at the University of Sherbrooke. I know how difficult it is to either unionize or switch from one to the other. In my case, I was unionizing from zero. I was also shop steward in two capacities in the past, so I got a number of experiences, years of experience, and I'm a past Local 10 president, et cetera. So that's just to tell you a little bit about me. The caveats here, and I share your point, Mr. Chairman, this is not the place to air differences with the supervisor or the union. It's about the bill, and that's what I'm going to dive into. I would like also to say I am a regular worker, 8:30 to 5, so that distinguishes a little bit me from, so when I speak, I may speak with that bias of somebody that's a regular 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So my introduction will be to, first, I wish to answer the committee's question, and then I wish to address a few submissions that were made in the past in the form of rebuttals. So to answer the question of committee, I believe this bill is about choice and capacity to adapt. And who here does not make choices? Where to live, what job, have a family or not, where to send the kids to school, etc. We typically make our own decisions, and it's the exception when somebody else, another entity, such as the state, makes a decision. Built for us, we usually make our own. Bill 26 speaks to choice. With the ability to choose comes the ability to adapt. And Darwin taught us, who survives long-term are those with the capacity to adapt. So choice is very important to be able to adjust as times evolved, and that involves making hard choices with the responsibilities and consequences that go with that. And as legislators, you are fully aware of that as you make those decisions pretty much every day on behalf of the constituency you represent. I would like to point out, before I dive into answering the question, that there are various parties or types of participants that came in and made submissions. There's nurses. They have various stakes and issues with the status quo or if bill is adopted. If the status quo stays, basically no choice. It's very predictable, and there's safety in numbers because they stay lumped in the main bargaining unit. It's also, if it's adopted, the purpose is to give them choice and get to outcomes that they wish, and that involves responsibilities and risks, and there is uncertainty as in any change. For the union, well, in the status quo, there's stability, predictability, and they keep the accreditation, which means 500 nurses representing $1 million a year of revenue.
Mr. Roberge?
Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you have hit the time limit.
Already?
Yes, and I just want to emphasize your extensive comments can be shared with committee in writing.
Okay.
But how about I give you a minute to sum up your general thoughts on the bill to committee, if you can be brief, and then like detailed comments like this, certainly we can receive in writing. So
okay, so I'll skip to, first of all, the question is whether or not, as a member of public, I agree with the mechanism for creation of a separate bargaining agent. Yes, I agree with the intent of Bill 26, that the public service nurses should have a mechanism for the creation of a separate bargaining unit. And I understand this is a one-shot deal, and this is focused on nurses, but it will open the way for other changes. And the reason I support this is right now there's nothing else at this day that is tangible. We have promises, we have something coming, maybe a legislative proposal, but this is very tangible, and it's not incompatible with future developments. You can support this and have transitory measures that delay the coming into force, and it gives time if the government wants to take the initiative, to take an initiative, and then there's leverage. Both can coexist, and then you can opt. So I would conclude, because you're being very indulgent, by simply saying that the nurses are adults that take adults' decisions like the rest of the bargaining unit. They are aware of the changes, the consequences, the risks, and if it's what they want to do, they should be given the choice, and with the understanding that they assume all the work it involves and all the risks. They can get something better in outcomes, sometimes less. So that's how I will conclude. Thank you for. Yes,
thank you. And
thank you.
I am sorry to interrupt you. It's just we have quite a few presenters today, and as much as I want to hear everybody's fulsome comments, I don't want anyone to take the ability to comment away from someone else. So I'll give committee the opportunity to ask for any clarifying questions. As I said, we will accept your comments in writing, and we'll appreciate those. Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you very much, and thank you to the presenter. I happen to know Mr. Roberge, and I know his passion for detail, so I know we probably would have put a fair bit of work into this presentation, which I appreciate. Mr. Chairman, my question for clarification in the presenter's words, if I got it captured it correctly, was this opens the way for other changes. Can you be specific to what that means? I'm trying to understand I need you to be specific so I understand what you're suggesting that will be from your anticipation, and you have to go through the chair.
Thank you. Mr. Roberge?
Mr. Chair, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the MLA for the question. The concept is a precedent. So if you adopt it for the nurses, it's an existing decision that can be used as a precedent for others. There may be other types of health workers. There may be the general GNWT bargaining unit. I know if given the choice, I'd likely keep my union because for me, 9 to 5 worker, Monday to Friday, it works for me. But maybe other groups may want to opt out if given the choice, and I find a lot of dignity in choice. So that's the type of precedent it would create. It would open the way for others, and that's the spirit of what was promised a labor board. It wouldn't be the nurses' labor board. It would be the labor board for NWT, for any type of group that wants to get accredited and get a bargaining unit for their own. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further clarifying questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Roberge. Appreciated you taking the time. Again, like I mentioned, written comments will be accepted. Next up, I have Ms. Tina Drew. Okay, Ms. Drew, I think you are starting to get the hang of things, or we are starting to get the hang of things. So if you could just introduce yourself for the record and keep your comments under 5 minutes if possible, and then we'll open it up to committee if they have clarifying questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and the members of the committee for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Tina Drew. I've been a nurse for 43 years. I started when I was 1 and counting. I've worked in 9 different countries, 1 province, and 2 territories. I'm proud to be a nurse. I love my job. I love working at Stanton. But I don't see Stanton or the GNWT as my employer. I work for the people of the Northwest Territories. And that is why I speak today, because I want our public healthcare system in the North to not only survive, but succeed. I grew up in Ireland, where private healthcare dominates. Because of that, I perhaps value and respect our public healthcare system more than most. I've lived and worked through the horrors of the alternative. Let's be clear. Bill 26 is not about higher pay or special treatment. It's about voice, fairness, and democracy. Some have framed this idea as new. It's not, and I can only speak from my experience here. In 2020, I met with Ryland Johnson, who was then my MLA, to discuss legislation like this, to bring it forward, because COVID showed how limited our union was in advocating for nurses. In 2021, I met with the then Health Minister, Julie Green, Caroline Wozniak, and Gayla Turnstorm, to discuss the closure of the obstetric unit. At that time, I told them the number one need was a separate bargaining unit for nurses. Let me give you a concrete example. In October of 2022, the operating room at Stanton had 4 trained nurses. I met with Gayla, Anne-Marie Tissell, and Chris Parsons to raise concerns about safety. A nurse had just finished a 22-hour shift. I suggested a practical change to the collective agreement to allow nurses to have their day of rest prior to being on call rather than after, so they would be rested for those 2 a.m. surgeries. Gayla was unable to do anything because she could not advocate for a change for one section of the bargaining unit. It would affect all GNWT employees. But I guarantee that none of you would like to have a surgery with a nurse who was working for 20 hours. Nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system. We work 24/7. We adapt to every crisis, every unit, every emergency. But in the bigger picture, our needs are often overlooked. During the last round of bargaining, the number one proposal from Stanton Local 11 was an increase to the after-hours premium. Right now, nurses working a 12.5-hour night shift earn $36 extra. Meanwhile, childcare for that shift is $150. The proposal was dropped because it mainly affects nurses. So what happens? Experienced nurses leave, and that puts enormous pressure on young graduates. Today, more nurses leave the profession in the NWT before 5 years of after graduating than retire from it. You cannot teach experience. It is learned at the bedside. The reality is the erosion of our work conditions and dissatisfaction of our profession. Other jurisdictions, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia, shows us what happens when nurses have their own voices. They win safer staffing levels, stronger patient protections, and a more resilient public health care. These are not cautionary tales of fragmentation. These are success stories. So why should the nurses in the NWT be, with Nunavut, the only ones denied that right? I've worked in Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Ireland, BC, and the Yukon. And this is the only place where I've not been in union, where nurses have a meaningful voice in their working conditions or in patient advocacy. So
Drew, if I could just interrupt you there, we are at the time limit.
Okay.
If you could, again, written comments will be accepted if you want to share more detailed, but if you wanted to just quickly clarify your position on the bill and why.
Okay, I've just one other comment then.
Thank you.
I've heard from nurses in the small communities. I can't speak for them, but you need to hear from them. I think you should travel to the communities to hear their voices. They are emergency nurses, ICU nurses, labor and delivery nurses, bedside nurses, all in one body. These nurses serve the most vulnerable in our community, and their voices should be heard. Bill 26 is not perfect, but Julie Green and Carolyn Wozniak promised in 2021 to advocate for nurses' rights. Please respect them, respect democracy, protect public health, and support Bill 26.
Thank you. Mr. Are you comfortable taking questions from committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Do any committee members have clarifying questions for Ms. Drew? Mr. Hawkins?
Thank you very much. So you had highlighted concerns brought up through your union, and they were unable to, say, advocate for them. Were there conditions or explanation as to why? So often, even I've asked for changes to, for example, contracts. I've asked for articulations of concerns, not changes to contracts. So in other words, don't break the contract, and they go, no, the government will say the position, well, there's a contract in place. I can't even say a nice phone call saying, would you be aware, pay attention. So did the union frame why they weren't considering some of the suggestions being promoted or advocated for? You have to go through the chair, just so you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Drew?
The union was very apologetic. I'm not here to criticize what the union did. Yeah, I'm not saying that. They did try, but when you have to make a change that affects everybody within the GNWT, sometimes that's going to cause a failure for another group of workers. And so what is necessary for a nurse and what is necessary for the jail can often be in conflict with each other. And that is what this bill is trying to correct. It's trying to give a voice to those who have different needs.
Thank you. Appreciate the succinct reply. Mr. Hawkins, further follow-up?
Thank you. Not to, as they say, relitigate the experience or whatnot. I wasn't there, so I won't pretend to assume I was. But I would say, would you not see it challenging in the middle of a fixed agreement to ask for changes in the agreement at the time? As opposed to, would there not have been a different route, such as, can we use these, here's our package of concerns, can we make sure they get in the next round as the next agreement comes forward? Because sometimes when not sometimes, typically almost always, once a contract is a contract, it becomes problematic, even with good intentions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Drew?
So we're talking about an emergency situation where we've only 4 qualified nurses who can work in an operating room, and you're saying that it's okay for them to work 22 hours? I'm just not understanding. Yeah, but I'm not understanding your question.
Mr. Hawkins, would you like to quickly clarify what you're asking?
Mr. Chairman, I'm not talking about the merits of any concern whatsoever specifically. I'm asking about advocating for changes in the middle of a contract agreement and how problematic that can become, regardless of the merits. It's not about, I'm setting aside the merits for a second because they may be very important, and as a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, they may be extremely critical. But the question really is about, I'm asking about the challenges at the time when you said, well, basically they couldn't be carried forward. I'm trying to get a deeper sense as to why they couldn't be carried forward. And was it as simple as, we're in the middle of a contract and advocating for changes, in theory, either has to change everyone or we have to wait to the next round. And I'm trying to get a better sense as to why you felt they weren't carried forward. I mean, you left it hanging there that they weren't listening, so I'm trying to ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Drew?
That'd be the last one.
I didn't say they didn't listen. I said they were unable to advocate to bring it forward because, as you say, it was in the middle of a contract. And so what we had asked for was a memorandum of understanding to change this for a period of time while there was a shortage of nursing. But because it would affect other employees within the GNWT, that was the reason that was given, that it could not be done because it would violate others' rights.
Thank you for that clarification. Well, I've got Mr. Jericon next. Mr. Jericon, I have you next for a clarifying question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank the presenter and and thank you for your service as well. I just wanted to just highlight your comments about small communities, and thank you for that as well. I just wanted to, right now, we're just compiling all the information on Bill 26 right now, and trying to understand what people have to say and their issues and concerns. But on your last comment, you had mentioned that Caroline Wozniak and Julie Green were advocating back in 2021. I'm assuming that's the 19th Assembly. Just for information, are you able to share anything with the committee so that we could review it as well in the next few months or so, just as we go through this process? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Drew.
So I don't know if anyone took minutes of that meeting. I took my own notes of that meeting, and I'm willing to share those notes. It was all, because it was during COVID, it was all over phone calls. It was a group phone call.
Thank you. Mr. Jericon?
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it if you could do that. Thank you. Merci.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further clarifying questions from committee? Okay, very quickly.
Yeah, thank you. I think I misspoke, and I want to thank you for pointing that out. I said I wasn't listening, and I did mean, and you did say unable to, and I want to reaffirm that I acknowledge that I'm typing so fast and trying to figure out where I am on the comment. That said, I hear you, and you know, your concern. Thank you for bringing them forward. Anyway, I just want to acknowledge I misspoke on that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Drew, for presenting to committee. Appreciate it. Next on the list, I have Ms. Vivian Lee. Oh, sorry, Ms. Lee. Just yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, and for the record, and like everybody else, we'll give you 5 minutes for your presentation.
Mine's going to be just quick. My name is Vivian Lee Silverio Chua. I'm a long-term Northerner who cares deeply about the healthcare system and the people it serves. Coming from a family of nurses, I have witnessed both the dedication and challenges faced by those working on the front lines. While I personally hold different role within the government, working both non-unionized as the nurse in charge and unionized as in scheduled role, I understand the importance of stability, fair representation, and sustainability for healthcare staff and wider community. With the introduction of Bill 26, I would like to respectfully raise the following questions and seek clarification. It can be answered later, but I just want to ask. My intent is not to advocate for or against the legislation, but to better understand its potential impacts, because it will impact everybody. The first one is continuity of the benefits and protections. I do understand that there's the transition. So the question is, will current benefits entitlements and previously arbitrated decision under the UNW automatically carry over if nurses from the new bargaining unit? That's the first. The last one is impact on our healthcare delivery. What safeguards will be in place to ensure patient care and staffing stability during any transition? Because this might be a better or worse. We will not know because it's going to be negotiated, but we have to also look at the impact to our community. Being said that, I thank you for taking the time to consider these questions. I believe open discussion and clarity on these points are essential to ensuring that any changes support both the workforce and the patients who rely on our healthcare system. I could say this. It doesn't need to be answered right now, but those are the high points that I would like to ask, because as a nurse as well, and we've been working for the healthcare system, I do understand that there would be a transition, but once there's a bargaining, that will be, it's not rebargaining, it's bargaining. So everything will be under the table. So I just want to understand how the nurses will be supported that way. And during the transition, the impact on the healthcare system to our patients and to our staff, and even with the government, because, again, this negotiation can go both ways. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Silverio Chua, for your presentation. I appreciate it. Are you comfortable taking questions from committee, or?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. And I just wanted to clarify, I mean, typically the bill's sponsor is responsible for making clarifications as to the intent of the bill, what the bill will and won't do. Committee is here to review the bill, but we can ensure that your questions are forwarded to the sponsor for response. But, yeah, of course.
But when, let's say, nurses are separated, this is now not a renegotiation, it's going to be a bargaining. And again, everything that the nurses are enjoying right now will be on the table for negotiation. So then again, that's just what protection these nurses will have. Because whether we like it or not, unionized or non-unionized, we, as a non-unionized, our benefits and everything is patterned to the current collective agreement. The only thing that we don't have is union representation. As within the management is a nurse, when this is separated, how does this also going to impact us as well? Are we going to be on the nurse side as we are nurse, but we are on the management, or are we going to follow the UNW? So also of us, there's that limbo, because majority of the management is from the nursing as well. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll just, if you're comfortable, we'll have questions from committee. Mr. Hawkins first.
Thank you. No, more of a comment, observation. I think the chair graciously offered to forward the questions, and it's an unfortunate process. Like, unfortunately, committee is not here to defend the bill in the context of answer questions. And this is any bill. This is not Bill 26. It could be any bill that's before it. It's to receive input, make some decisions on the input and the broader considerations of. So, by way of point, and I think the graciousness of forwarding it on is the right answer, I also think I would encourage a further, say, robust discussion about sending it to all parties, because there are some people who have opinions on one side, say it's going to be great, and some on the other side, as I often say, will say it's less great. And so I think that committee's not in a position to answer questions, although it's a regretful nature of the process, but it is a standard that we adhere to. So, Mr. Chairman, more of a comment, but we can have a discussion later to ensure maybe the questions go to all parties. That way folks can respond if they so choose to our presenter. Thank you.
Thank you.
That gentleman right there.
Yeah, we'll make sure staff gets that from you, Ms. Silverio Chua. Thank you very much for presenting to committee. My list is gone. Angus, who do we have up next? Okay, Jacob James. Bit of a rhythm here and you'll understand, but if you can introduce yourself for the record and you'll be given 5 minutes to present.
All right. I'm Jacob James Moynes-Keshen. I'm currently a student nurse at Aurora College. I'm here to speak on the bill in question. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. All right, Mr. Chair. When it comes to the current situation with how labor negotiations are conducted with nursing as a whole under the current union, I have to say when I first understood that there wasn't already an independent union for nursing, I was surprised. And then I felt some shame and embarrassment. It is untenable to continue to suggest that the needs of nurses as a unique labor unit can be met by a union which is fundamentally composed of workers of broad stripes, broad colors, whose needs are entirely different from nurses and will always numerically overshadow them. The needs of nurses in small communities currently, look at Sachs Harbor or Teline or many of the other smaller communities across the Northwest Territories. Many of them are staffed by 1 or 2 nurses. Who's going to advocate for them? Who's going to advocate for the nurses at Stanton Hospital currently who face unique difficulties, long shifts, and labor needs that are not being addressed? Labor rights are not something that can be legislated away. Labor rights are something that must be respected of all professions and labor units. Right now, nurses do not have the choice or the opportunity to enact their own union, their own voice for their own needs. As it stands right now, nurses cannot do this, and we need to change that. I think that this bill that is in consideration must be passed. I would go so far as to say that it is essential. I hope that it is, and I want to just say that right now, nursing as a profession is making great strides in other provinces, other territories, other communities. Look at the Saskatchewan Union of Nurses, who in their fights to make their voice heard have made a better state for the profession of nursing, for the conditions of nurses in the province of Saskatchewan, and they are far from alone. From BC to Ontario, nursing is being advocated for. But as it stands, the right of nurses to perform those very same tasks, to perform the very same act of advocating for themselves, is squandered and put down. I hope that the committee will consider what is being said today, will consider the voices of nurses, and understand that the fundamental right to worker self-organization should not ever be put down, should not ever be considered as something that is optional. Any labor unit, nurses included, must be allowed to self-organize. I hope that this will be a step in that right direction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the succinct presentation. Did any committee members have clarifying questions for the presenter? Okay. Thank you very much
All right,
for the
thank you, Mr.
presentation.
Chair.
Appreciate it. Next up, I'm going to call on Sherman Kavanaugh.
Yes, hi. Just want to say, I think most of the issues have been addressed, so instead of repetitive type of information or questions, I think we'll pass on that for now.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh. I've got Zachary Gillard next.
I actually didn't realize that that was what the list was for.
Oh, okay. Okay. In that case, we have Ms. Gayla Thunstrom up. Okay, Ms. Thunstrom, you know the drill by now. We're giving 5 minutes. If you could just state your name for the record and share a brief presentation, and we'll turn it over to committee for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Gayla Thunstrom, and I'm the president for the Union of Northern Workers. What I have to say today is it's very simple. It's just a quick statement, and I believe, we did do our presentation, but what I will say, and it's just to provide clarity in very simple terms, that the UNW is not opposed to the possibility of a made-in NWT labor board that could appropriately address certification or decertification. We have already committed to discussing this part of the Public Service Act with the GNWT as part of Phase 2 amendments. That work is already underway. We are opposed to Bill 26 because it has significant errors in it and omissions in the actual legal language that present a danger to nurses and democratic labor rights. It does not address the issues discussed in the bill proposal, nor the issues that we have heard from our members. Told you.
That's the most succinct presentation we've had yet. Committee, does anyone have clarifying questions for Ms. Thunstrom while we have her in front of us? Okay. Seeing none from committee, and with a little bit of time, I would just ask Ms. Thunstrom, did you have any suggested amendments, or did you want to be specific about the areas of the bill that you think would require, areas of the bill that might require amendment or clarification? You mentioned that there were significant deficiencies in it. Can you speak to those?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I always screwed up. Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I believe that I've answered a lot of those questions in my presentations that I did before. The bill, as it's written currently, has a lot, as I said, we are opposed to it because it has significant errors and omissions in the legal language that present a danger to nurses and democratic rights. The bill needs to have some work done on it. We've committed to working with the government on Section 41 of the Public Service Act, where this should be addressed.
Okay. Thank you. And I think you have been very clear. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to provide any specifics if you wanted to, or further specifics. With that, I don't see any further questions from committee, so thank you very much, Ms. Thunstrom, for taking the time to present today. So that's the end of the list I have in writing. I would just put it out now to the room. Is there anybody in the room who intended to speak or maybe didn't intend to speak and would like to speak now, we do have a bit of time. By all means, you can come up to the witness table and identify yourself and speak. Okay. Okay, seeing no further presentations, that brings us to the end of the public hearing, and it looks like everybody who's wanted to share feedback has had the opportunity to do so. On behalf of the committee, I want to thank everyone who's shared with us today and who's written to the committee. We will consider your comments carefully as we continue our review of Bill 26, and thank you as everyone else who observed today's meeting on the broadcast or simply came to observe. It's always great to see people in the gallery, and certainly this is probably the highest turnout I've seen for in one of our committee meetings, so it's nice to see everyone today. If anyone wants to send written feedback to the committee, we certainly welcome it. Please send an email to committees@ntassembly.ca. And you can find that address, of course, on our website as well. And that brings the public portion of this meeting to a close. As usual, colleagues, I would ask that you stay behind in camera to debrief after taking a brief break. So why don't we come back together at 4 o'clock? And for everyone else, I wish you a great afternoon. Thank you.